Welcome to the Scott Verplank Show, part of the Sellout Crowd Network. Today, I'm going to speak with a young man that I've watched grow up playing golf, Austin Eckroat. He's in his second year on the PGA Tour, Oklahoma State Cowboy, starting to make his mark. Really a good player, great young man. So we're going to get into it, and let's see Austin. All right, welcome to the second episode of the Scott Verplank Show. And I have a great young PGA Tour professional, Austin Eckroat, is my guest. Oklahoma State graduate, grew up in Edmond, so he is all Oklahoman and all about golf. So thanks for coming on, Austin.
Yeah, thanks, Scott, for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, let me ask you the very first thing right off the top. You're married. You've been married for about a year and a half to wonderful young lady, Sally, but she's a Sooner. So how does that work? You're a Cowboy. She's a Sooner. How do we get through all that?
You know, it's tough through the football season. You know, there's a lot of heated moments, but it makes it kind of fun. It makes the football season more enjoyable. And you know, it's a little trash talk at home. And sadly, it'll be a little different now with the different schedules, but. You know, there'll still always be that, rivalry between us and the who's better and all that stuff. So it really makes it fun and interesting. She is an OSU golf fan, so she's our fan, Scott, so that's good.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, how could you not be an OSU golf fan?
Exactly.
I mean, so does she make you go to some games in Norman?
Yeah, she makes me go to a few OU games every year. Typically, however many OSU games we go to, we have to go to that many OU games. But I mean, they don't tailgate quite like we do, that's for sure. I always have a good time in Norman, but it's not, the tailgate system's not the same, that's for sure.
No, we have a pretty special setup there. Actually, I mean, Oklahoma State in general is great for tailgating, a little bit better than Norman, but the OSU golf tailgate is kind of must-see TV. Yeah. With E.J. Pfister and Robin Ventura, we recruited him from the baseball team to come over and cook. And, man, we have steak, crab legs, chicken, ribs, best food around. It's kind of funny every time OU plays in Stillwater, all their people that we all know, they all come to the OSU tailgate.
Exactly.
And it's more like we kind of get swarmed by this red wave. Yeah. Fortunately this year we won the game, so they weren't hanging around as much, but the OSU golf tailgate is just phenomenal. You kind of get the young guys, old guys, you kind of get to hang around and stay in touch with each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty cool. It's always fun. It was fun whenever I was in school going to the tailgate, and getting to meet the ex-players and stuff. And now it's fun to be, on this side of it and, seeing the current players. And then, for those guys, it's awesome to see the current PGA Tour players and the guys that they see in the hallway every day when they're walking to the locker room and all the accolades that those guys have and, actually getting to put a face to them and, create friendships. It's something special that OSU has that, it's just unique.
No, there's no doubt. We're both pretty lucky to have been part of that and helped keep that tradition and go on. I think it's probably a lot like the OU football feels about, they've been winning for decades and winning big. And that's what OSU golf has done.
Exactly.
So, but Austin, I mean, you hang around with some of the OU golfers that are about your same age that they play out at Oak Tree. So, I mean, are you doing okay with that?
It gets tough sometimes. No, I was kidding. But like you said, I got my wife's a Sooner, her family's a Sooners, and then I hang around. All the guys I play golf with now are all Sooners. So it's pretty crazy. I've just surrounded myself by these. My rivals, but we're all great friends now, and we all love Oklahoma. That's something we can all get behind. So,
yeah, no, you know what, you're 100% right. I wouldn't really probably be doing this show without Bob Stoops.
Yeah,
which seems like a weird marriage, but Bob he's such a great guy, and he's done his podcast now for 4 or 5 months on Sellout Crowd, and he says he has fun with it, and we got to talking about it. So here I am. So, Bob and I play some golf together. And obviously I give him some shots, and it's usually not that close, but I'm just trying to get anywhere close to his podcast because his podcast is great. So
good.
That's why I have you on, Austin.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, just like one of his ex players, right? Same caliber.
Yeah, same caliber. Absolutely. So when you were at Oklahoma State, who was your best friends on the team?
Yeah. So Matt Wolff and I went to school together. We were the same age, and we played the junior circuit together. So we were always super close. And I was always encouraging him to come play golf with me at Oklahoma State. And we were damn near inseparable for 2 years before we left. We were just great friends, and we're still great friends to this day. We just live in different places, but we stay in touch as much as we can. But yeah, so Wolff was definitely my best friend, and I mean, we had just had a great team all around with guys that got along, and and still to this day, I play practice rounds with those guys, and so we had Victor was a great friend of mine. I lived with him for 2 years after he had turned pro. I lived with him whenever he stayed in Stillwater, and Zach and I have remained good friends, and Sam Stevens and I and Chris Ventura. I mean, there's a whole list of guys that I'm still close with. Stratton now being the assistant coach at Oklahoma State. So just from top to bottom, a lot of great guys.
Well, yeah, and I mean you were probably part of what I would consider the best team ever.
Thank you.
Which is saying a lot for Oklahoma State golf. Mm-hmm. 6, 7, 8 guys off the one team have PGA Tour status. Yeah. So that's pretty hard to do. And obviously several of you guys are very, very upper echelon, headed towards the top of the mountain. So that says a lot, and that's pretty good for not only for you but for Oklahoma State golf.
Yeah.
So you keep in touch with Matt. Do y'all talk about live?
Occasionally, not in any way that I'm going there, but just to see how he's doing and how he's liking it, and the the trade that just happened with him and Taylor Gooch, and just you know him very well. So he loves to communicate things, and he's a talker, and he's a lot of times I think he just needs to get stuff off his chest, just to get it, and then that's something that I feel like has always been good for our relationship. I'm a pretty good listener, and he's he needs to get things off his chest, so it's been great for our friendship. And like I said, we don't get to see each other as much anymore, but we still talk on the phone, and whenever we do get to see each other, it's like we haven't like I saw him yesterday. So
yeah, well, he is fun. He is a talker, and he's an entertainer. But
sure.
You didn't get like an $80 million. You didn't get an $80 million offer to join the Live Tour.
No, sadly, there hasn't been crazy money thrown around in my direction yet. One of these days, hopefully. But I'm happy with where I am right now, and I love the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you should be. I agree with you. I think everybody really loves the PGA Tour, and hopefully they'll get it all worked out. I mean, you're at a stage where you keep playing well, you'll have every opportunity in the world to do everything you ever dreamed of playing golf. So
thank you.
Keep going, man.
Yes, sir. Will do.
That's what. I know. That's what we're all looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were young, I guess you were still. Was Tiger Woods your idol or kind of the model? He's kind of been everybody's model for the last 20, 25 years. And rightfully so, because he has put golf on a different level.
Yeah.
So I mean, he brought so many people. Is that what encouraged you to want to play the tour?
Yeah. So still to this day, he's still my, celebrity, like idol. He's the guy in my mind. Growing up, I was born in 99, and that's kind of whenever he all started to get going. And so my whole childhood was watching him just tear up the PGA Tour. And, my dad's what got me into the game young, that, I want to play the PGA Tour just because, it was kind of what we worked towards, but Tiger definitely influenced my decision there too. And just, I think with sports, and I played everything growing up, and golf was what I was best at, and I wanted to play the PGA Tour. That's just always kind of been, I'm sure Tiger Woods definitely had some influence on that just because I watched him all the time, but definitely my dad, was a huge motivator in me wanting to play the PGA Tour.
Well, and you know what, you're a great example of what younger guys coming onto the tour are. You played all these sports growing up, and then decided that golf was my thing. Well, you're an athlete, and there's not a bunch of kids coming out or young guys coming out and playing that aren't pretty good athletes now. And that's the Tiger effect
for sure.
So I think that's what's making it's much more difficult and so deep now is because the level of athlete is way, way, way up there.
Right.
So is there other guys that you kind of look up to? Like a Ricky or those guys that have been successful. Obviously, Ricky's Oklahoma State guy. He kind of changed the clothing market in a way. Got orange all over the place. So, as a Cowboy, that's not a bad thing.
Not at all. No, yeah. So, but definitely Ricky. Being, growing up an OSU fan, and I used to go and we went to the Big 12 championship a couple times whenever he was in school, and went to national championship and. So he's always kind of been someone I looked up to as well. And what's great about him too is, he's still on the PGA Tour, and we're always close to each other in the locker room because I'm, E last name and he's F, and he's always just, super personable and acts like I'm one of his good buddies. It's always fun to be around Ricky. I mean, it's he was kind of someone that helped whenever I came out on the PGA Tour, make me feel comfortable. So it was always liked looking up to him, and he's a great role model to have. He's done it right.
I agree. You know what? And a lot of people don't get to see that kind of stuff. And it's not just Ricky, but the guys that are really, really, really good guys, they'll do that. And they'll hang around with the younger guys and try to make them feel comfortable and don't feel threatened.
Yeah, there's so many guys out there too that are that way. They're just they want to help. There's a lot of guys that are the other way, but there's guys that definitely want to help. So it's a fun environment out there for sure.
Oh yeah, when I a long time, 35 years ago, there was guys that were not about to help you cross the street, and there were other guys that were welcoming and kind of wanted to take you under their wing and show you the ropes and we're pulling for you. So and it'll probably always be that way. Everybody's competitors, but it's good to hear that. I know how Ricky is, but I think Victor and Ricky and lots of guys are good with that now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Who do you play practice rounds with? Or do you have like a set group or anything like that?
Well, whenever Victor and I play in the same events, we play a lot of practice rounds together, but he plays a different PGA Tour than I do. And but Sam Stevens and I play a lot.
That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic we can get on. But Sam Stevens and I play a lot of practice rounds together, another Oklahoma State guy, and just Davis Thompson, he's another buddy of mine. He played at Georgia. But there's just a lot of guys out there. For the most part, I just try to go and play 9 a.m, and whoever's on the tee is on the tee, and we'll go play golf. Occasionally we'll, I'll book or not book, but schedule a tee time with some guys. But for the most part, I just pop out and play with whoever. So.
Well, that's good. I mean, listen, when you're young and you're really more concerned with getting to know the golf courses.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's probably, overall, it's got to be a good experience to play with everybody out there if you can.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, it's mostly for me, just the, especially last year, I was getting out there actually trying to learn the golf course, not, have a social event. So it was, just trying to get out there early and be able to take my time and do what I wanted to do. So, I think a couple of years from now, this year, even towards the end of the year, I'll have my group and, we'll probably play every practice round together. But for now, still trying to learn a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, that's smart. That's what you're supposed to do. Kind of until, later in your career is kind of funny. Like, Bob Tway and I played together all the time. Justin Leonard and I played together all the time. Stricker. And, we'd been out there a long time and we'd already seen the courses. So we'd go play 9 holes and we'd play these really dumb games. And we weren't even play golf games. We'd play these, like Justin Leonard and I played like this. We'd get our pairings on your phone. They would text you who you're playing with. And so the 2 guys that we were paired with in the first round, we'd have to give each other hints about these guys. We wouldn't tell them the name, and they were it was like the hardest crossword puzzle ever.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Leonard, he's pretty funny. and he's pretty smart and deep thinker. So it sometimes take 9 holes to figure out who you were playing
Right.
with, who you were going to be paired with. So
We
that's
play a
later
game
when
with
we've already,
pairings too. It's pretty fun.
yeah,
We just
we've
do it to where it's like if you get it's me and Stone, my caddy. We'll do $10 if you get one guy right. We both make guesses on who it is, and then $10 for the other guy. And I think it's $50 if you get both right. It's something just kind of fun, just stupid gambling, but that's what golfers do, isn't it? So
yeah. Hey, stupid gambling is exactly right. It's actually that's funny. Scott Tway caddied for me for like 12 years, and actually it was before Scott Tway. The Proams are so long.
mm-hmm.
You have to play some. Now you're playing more this year, correct?
Yeah, so I play, and what's great, they're 9 holes now too. You do 9 and 9, but I'll get into probably, I would say 80% of them this year. But my status last year, I was in maybe 5 all year. So my Wednesdays were just practice days.
Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, y'all are pretty spoiled now, only having to play 9 holes in the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
But you meet great people in the Pro-Ams.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But through the years, they just take forever, 5 hours. The amateurs are done by about the 12th or 13th hole.
Yeah.
Most of them don't walk. They're so tired they can't hardly finish. Mm-hmm. So we used to have this funny game, me and my caddy. We would pick 2 guys out of the foursome, and we'd set a line total for each hole. Like if it was a par 4, we'd say, okay, the 2 best balls, we'll set it at 9.5.
Yeah.
And we'd bet like $10 on either the over or the under. And it was so funny because a few times, I'd be lining up putts for a guy to make his putt for a 6. And it really should have been, hey, pick up, dude. You're out of the hole. Yeah. And, my caddy, he'd be over there and he'd be clubbing a guy. And I'm like, hey, what about me? I need a yardage, dude. No, no. So that kind of spiced it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We never really let the amateurs know we were gambling on them because it would have been too much. Might have been uncool, but we did that forever, and it was pretty funny.
That is fun. I might have to introduce that one to Stone.
Well, it's embarrassing when you're standing. The pro tees are 50 yards behind these guys, and we'll be standing back there, and we've made our picks. And the guy will top it off, and one of us starts laughing, or the one guy shanks it over into the woods, and it's kind of like, oh gosh, don't let him see you laughing or high fiving.
Yeah, it's like whenever you're on the green at a tournament and you miss a 4-footer, and some guy in the crowd cheers because he had money on it or something. So.
Oh yeah, that's more and more. Hey, that's like coming up here at the Phoenix Open when you go to that 16th hole.
Yeah.
You just have to block everything out, don't you? I always really enjoyed that. And last year you played. Have you played it twice now?
No, just once. I played it 2 years ago. They gave me a sponsor exemption 2 years ago. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's the 16th hole. It's obviously like the main focal point, but that's on it. In my opinion, it's just noise while you're in there. It's not too bad. It's whenever you're on the front 9 and you get a group of 20 drunk guys that are out there have money on you heckling you. That's when it gets interesting. But 16, you expect it, and you're just obviously it's nerve wracking and there's a ton of people watching you hit a ball. But when it comes to the noise level, it's not too bad because it's just constant.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's great for that week. I wouldn't want to do it every week.
No,
but it is great. Yeah, but you're right. When you're on the other side, there's not as many people, and you got the 15 guys that have been drinking beer all day. And
yeah,
I don't mind it if they're going to bet on whether you make the putt or not, but they probably. The only annoying part is when they high five or cheer or laugh or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like a Ryder Cup. You go play a Ryder Cup in Europe, and hey, they're pulling against you, which is fine, and they probably should be. So
it makes it fun. I mean, honestly, it does. So.
Yeah, well, you'll get used to all that stuff because you're going to play good enough where you're gonna have crowds and you're gonna hopefully get on Ryder Cup teams and do all that good stuff.
That's the goal.
Who is your teacher?
Yeah, so my dad is my swing coach. He always has been, for my whole life, and we've always it's a tough relationship to have, on sometimes on the road, and distinguishing between. Swing coach and, dad, but we, since we've been doing it for so long now, we've got it all figured out. But we've always been open to taking advice from other instructors. We've seen Butch Harmon a couple times. We went and worked on the swing catalyst boards with EJ, just going to get information. And you know, but it's always kind of, we'll take what we learned from them, we'll take, you know, and then incorporate it between the two of us. And he's always kind of just the checks and balances, making sure that the ball position's in a good spot and the, you know, alignment's good, and you know, there's no major flaws. And that's kind of, you know, we always keep it simple. That's what we do. Just, you know, as long as your alignment and ball position are staying the same, the swing won't get too far off. So
Yeah, I've known you quite a while now. Yeah, and your swing is your own, which I actually, I think that's the best way. The most great players in history, they kind of have their own swing and they own it. So you and your dad have obviously done a good job. I know going to see EJ, EJ really knows his X's and O's and very, very knowledgeable.
Right.
But I'm intrigued, not intrigued, I'm kind of happy to know. I didn't know that before, but I'm happy that you went to see Butch Harmon because, you know, obviously Butch is, you know, he's done a number of things in his life, but, you know, but teaching Tiger Woods and actually, you know, helping Tiger Woods amongst, you know, Ricky Fowler. I mean, it's just Dustin Johnson. There's millions of guys, but when you went to see Butch, did he tell you anything real technical, or did he just tell you a bunch of stories and make you laugh and feel good about yourself and maybe blow a little hot air up your backside?
Yeah, no, it's definitely he's a great hype man. I was more confident leaving than I was showing up, for sure. And, you know, he gave me a couple swing tips, and what's incredible is, you know, a lot of times when you're working on the swing and it takes a few months for it to start to improve your actual golf game, it was immediate success. Like immediately I left the place hitting the golf ball better, but it was probably due to the fact that he was just, I mean, I had so much confidence leaving the place. He's a fantastic storyteller and a great hype man.
Well, I think that's one of the things that makes him through the years such a great coach. Because I know he knows his stuff technically.
Yeah,
he's been around so long that he's seen a gazillion different ways to do it. But man, he's got the funniest stories. And if you can go to a guy and you leave there, and if you leave there laughing and smiling and feeling like you got something out of it, you should probably go once a year to see Butch just to take some of his BS and just go with it.
Just for the experience. It's a hell of an experience. It's fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you've gone to do that. That's a big stepping stone, and you'll benefit from, you and your father will benefit from checking out some different guys. And you know, there's way more than one way to skin a cat.
For sure.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Well, so you got a bunch of tournaments coming up here. Big ones coming up. So you get to play in Phoenix. And then what's coming up after the Phoenix Open?
So after Phoenix is the LA at Riviera, and I'm in a position to where if I play well enough in Phoenix, I could get in one of those swing category positions to play the big boy event. But if not, you know, I'll go to Mexico after that and then start the Florida swing. So, you know, a lot of good stuff coming up. I'm in the Players, a lot of fun events to look forward to. Hopefully play well enough to get into the big point events and big money events, but you know, the other ones are still pretty good too. So
yeah, well, I don't think there's any doubt. You know, I was looking at your stats. You drive it really, really good, exceptional for the tour, and your short game's good. Your middle irons are good. So what's the one thing you need to get a little bit better?
Yeah, you know, whenever I look back at rounds and, you know, looking at statistics, you know, I typically always drive the ball well. That's something I struggled with last year. I felt a little bit, in my opinion, was driving and the irons, which has always been, you know, kind of my bread and butter, is always ball striking. And, you know, it made me kind of rely on my short game a little bit, and I needed to improve it, and it made me realize how much better I needed to get there. So I think, you know, I've made good steps on that side. And, but for me, I mean, if I'm hitting the ball in the middle of the fairway, and I mean, those are the weeks I play well, and that's just something I need to do, you know, week in and week out, is just drive the ball, because that's what I do best.
Yeah, well, that is, you know, you can make a good living and win a lot of tournaments. You put the ball in the fair. I know length is everything in golf now, but playing from the fairway and chipping and putting good will take you a long way. I know you know that. So, Yeah, we've messed around the chipping green a little bit together. I used to be a pretty good chipper, so if you ever want me to try to help you again, all you got to do is call.
Hey, I'll always take advice. So
hey, I've been reduced to doing podcasts, Austin. So I got time. I got time to do some chipping lessons with you.
Perfect.
If your dad approves.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be there too. He'll make sure that nothing crazy is going on.
Yeah. Well, last thing, have you used ping clubs your whole life?
Yeah. So I was lucky, and I started their junior program whenever I was 12. So I've been working with the same guys, Jeff Brown and Kenton Oates, just the same exact guys for the last 13 years now. And, I've been 14 ping clubs in my bag since like I said, since I was 12. And I think that was huge for my professional start because I played the exact same set I played in college. I mean, I didn't even make one equipment change for that first summer. And, not everybody says that. A lot of guys switch their whole bag. And, I think that was good for the early success that I had in getting onto the PGA Tour was, I was just comfortable with my equipment.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's wise beyond your years. A lot of guys, it's like you get to go to the candy store.
Yeah, exactly.
All this new stuff, and you get the latest and greatest from all these different companies. And man, just dance with who you brung.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're doing a nice job of that.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you about here on this section is your music situation. You and Sally, do y'all listen to the same kind of music?
Yeah. So luckily we both like country music. We both like kind of those sad songs, the soft alternative music, which is good for car rides for us. We we can agree on music. She likes a little pump up music every once in a while for whenever she's going to work out, but luckily for us, it's simple. We like the same music.
Well, so do you use music as do you like sing or hum songs on the golf course?
Oh, yeah.
Or for rhythm, stuff like that?
Yeah, like if I'll get a song stuck in my head and that same song's on repeat in my head the whole round. And I think the more I talk to people, I think every single person might be that way too. So it's kind of fun. I'll ask Stone every now and then what song's in his head, my caddy, and we haven't matched up yet, but maybe that's whenever we're gonna, tear it up is when we got the same song going in our head.
You know what? I think you're right. It is funny because, so like say the last round, you played really well in Dallas. Did you have a song in your head?
I mean, I know I did, but I can't even remember what it was because, it's just a lot of times I don't even notice that I'm singing a song in my head, but I am, it's just, and then, so funny.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the, that's one of the hidden, I don't know if it's a hidden, but kind of one of the secrets for good rhythm.
Yeah.
You get and it keeps your mind from wandering about your score and other things going on. I remember Scott Tway caddied for me, and what year was it? 2001, long time ago. I won the Canadian Open, and Scott Tway and I were singing to each other Bohemian Rhapsody the whole last round.
Hey, you guys are matched up. You're good.
Hey, we're walking down the fairway, like just a couple idiots, and going through all the lyrics because it's a catchy song.
It is,
but it's funny, and he and I always did that, got into that kind of stuff about listening to music and getting a touchy, getting a song that just sticks in your head.
Right.
I think we sang Tequila. I don't know if you know the song.
I know the song Tequila.
Dun, 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 dun,
that might not be the best song for rhythm right there.
I know we did that one round at the Canadian Open as well, but it just keeps your mind off the the more important stuff of worrying about your score, worrying about your swing, all that. So
you gotta distract yourself out there for sure at times.
No doubt. So well, that's good. I thought I was the only weirdo.
No.
Because I haven't really talked about that much, but I'm glad you do that. You have a nice long career in the golf and music business ahead of you.
Thank you.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Austin, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
You've been a great guest. State of Oklahoma loves you.
Thank you.
Sooners and Cowboys. So good luck to you, and hopefully we'll talk again soon, and we'll all be pulling for you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Enjoyed it.